Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Kogan, founder of Eliances.
Can you believe what it's been so far, the Unlocking Secrets of Heroes? I mean, we just had on the NASA scientist and founder, CEO, and Pay Active. And we just had on, you ready? The CEO of Ritz-Carlton Luxury Yachts. And later on, we've got James Flores with WeBuildPhoenix.com coming on. But it keeps getting better. All right. Incredible. I got to tell you, our next hero who has acted in everything from Big Mama's House 2 to The Walking Dead to the true Don Quixote movie coming soon. And on stage, just so much that she's doing. We have Anne Mahoney, who is also the designer and founder of Peeky Now, Anne, you have gotten a reputation of being a chameleon in your roles. I mean, you just adapt and you're able to transform into all of these roles, which is just phenomenal. What are some of the favorite characters, though, that you've played?
I think my favorite on screen has been I got to play Gladys Presley, the Mama to the King in Sun Records. That's probably my favorite. I love those transformative kind of characters, and I love the historical aspect of the research of bringing her to life. So I'd say that would that would be my favorite on screen. And on stage, actually, I played Hamlet in Hamlet when I was in graduate school, and I don't know yet if I was very good, but I did learn a lot, and it was a role, a play I fell in love with when I was 13 years old. So to get to do it on stage was pretty incredible.
And I think in life, you know, we play roles all the time, and we have to, adapt to those roles. And the way you've been able to do it with your acting has just been phenomenal. I got to ask you, though, what are some of the secrets of being able to prepare and make that so real?
Well, I love people, and I'm a big observer of life and how people behave in life. So part of it is just being aware and awake in your everyday life and open to different people and personalities and their experiences. So that's part of it. And then part of it is a lot of research. I spend a lot of time, I have a little nerdy character homework notebook where I suss out all the details of whoever I'm playing. Most of the time they're not historical, they're fictional. So I'm making up a lot of the details that aren't given to me in the script to be sure that, just like Anne Mahoney knows Anne Mahoney very well because I've lived with me for 42 years, well, I want to know those characters just as well, and that includes knowing their family history and knowing some of their experiences so that when I walk on to the camera, it's a three-dimensional person, not just words from a page.
Now, also, too, what's incredible is you've been part of the cast on The Walking Dead. You played Olivia. You were also in Big Mama's House 2 with Tyler Perry, all of my favorite movies. What was it like, though, to being on such a fan-favorite productions like that? And what can you tell us about your time on either one of those projects?
Walking Dead was like jumping onto a moving train. I started in season 5, and I was in 6 and 7 as well. And it's a well-oiled machine, and everyone is really happy on that set because everyone knows how lucky they are to be working on the most popular show on television. And no divas on that set, just casting, and the producers did a great job of finding actors who just love the craft and love to work. So, it was pretty incredible when I first came on set, my first day, driving to base camp, which is where we have our hair and makeup trailers, and people were just lining the streets with cameras. I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
Did you have any nightmares playing, though, and being in The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I definitely did, especially when I would go home after a 10-day shoot or something. I would rustle in the bushes. It would make me jump.
Oh my God. I would never be able to sleep again.
Yeah, it's rough. I don't actually, in real life, I don't really watch anything that's scary. It's not my cup of tea. So I definitely took some of that home with me for sure.
Excellent. Well, don't be scared because you're with me, David Kogan, host
Oh,
of the Eliances Heroes radio show. That's right. Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com. It is the only place where entrepreneurs align. And we have Anne Mahoney, actor in The Walking Dead, the true Don Quixote, designer of edgy clothes for kids, which we're going to know more about, of Peeky So tell me how you got involved in the clothing industry and starting PeekyDesigns.com.
well, I have two kids of my own. I have a 10-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl, and I grew increasingly frustrated with what was available for them to wear. Being a child of the '90s and into Nirvana and Jane's Addiction and a little bit of a goth edge to myself, I felt like kids' clothing was just a little too cute and not edgy enough. So I started sewing things for my son when he was born, and then my daughter when she was born. And I had a friend who said, you really should sell this stuff because it's really incredible. So I kind of gave myself a crash course in designing fabric and sourcing, which was quite a steep learning curve. And I decided to design the kind of clothes that I wish I could find in the store. So that's how Peeky Designs was born.
And what are some of the most popular outfits on your site?
The Sugar Skulls dress is actually our most popular. It's beautiful cotton jersey knit fabric. It's very soft. It has giant pockets, which are always great for kids, and I would mention for grown-ups too. I wish they put more pockets on things. And it has a beautiful sugar skull design, red on white, white on red, and then the trim is black and white skeletons. And but it's not scary. It's kind of, we call it painfully cute.
I love it. Are those pictures on your website too? Again, listeners, you got to go PeekyDesigns.com. Are those your kids?
Those are my babies.
That's incredible. I love the skull shirt. That's so cool. Unbelievable.
I'm proud of them.
Unbelievable. How do you think, though, children can grow up to really make a difference like you have, and being able to adapt to all these roles, and then finding out, hey, listen, I'm going to also do PeekyDesigns.com. I mean, because it's first of all, it's a challenge really with whatever we do, but certainly being in the acting industry where there's a gazillion other people that would love to have that same role. How do you get to achieve that?
I think that part of it is being a chameleon, not just in your acting, but your life, being able to change and be agile. But a big part of it, I think, is tenacity. A lot of people just outlast other people in this business, and it's just having the passion and having the fortitude to keep going, even amidst a lot of disappointment and rejection. So, in raising my kids, I definitely am a mama bear, but I'm not a helicopter parent. And I really tried to make sure that they stand on their own 2 feet and stand up for themselves. And then I swoop in when it's necessary. But I was raised that way too. I was raised by 2 artists. My dad is a jazz musician. My mom is a classical musician. And in my later life, childhood, she went back to school to be a nurse. So I was raised by 2 people with an extremely hard work ethic. And so to me, that's what you do, is you raise a kid to never rest on their laurels, to celebrate their victories, and to not be put down by their defeats in life.
Tell me about the Don Quixote movie.
So this was a real blessing to work on this film. I actually got to shoot at home for a change, and I live in New Orleans, so it was wonderful. Chris Pochet was the writer-director, and he went back to read Don Quixote, which is, I think, he was saying it's the second most read book in history next to the Bible. And what he found is that every production that had been done of anything related to Don Quixote was actually kind of epic and grand, but it was actually a pretty simple, small story. So he set it here in St. Bernard Parish, which has got some beautiful swamp backgrounds next to the river. And Tim Blake Nelson played Don Quixote, and I played his niece, who he lives with. And that film is all about a person who's had it with life and the boringness of life, and that there's no glory left in it. And so he decides to go off and seek his glory, and along his way, he transforms the lives of a bunch of other apathetic people who had kind of given up on life too. So it's a beautiful film. I had a blast making it.
I love it. All right, we've got a little less than a minute left, but I need to ask you because this is what our listeners want to know too. Is the fact is how do you memorize all these type of roles and not get them confused with one another and show up, in Big Mama's house too, but thinking that you're in Walking Dead? I mean, how do you actually submerge yourself into that and memorize those lines?
The memorization is it's a muscle memory thing. So I try to keep myself challenged constantly with memorizing large chunks of things quickly, which usually the industry does that for me in the form of auditions. So I'll get a 10-page audition at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it'll be due by 5 o'clock on a Thursday, and that's in addition to being a mom and doing all the stuff I have to do. So it's like dance. Once you get your brain in that place where you've learned to memorize, then you can memorize more and more and more. You just have to keep it up. So, yeah, that's how I do it.
Excellent. Well, and truly incredible. You inspire others to make a difference. You entertain others. You are the chameleon. You help children express their inner edginess with your clothing. And Mahoney, a hero. Make sure you go to PeekyDesigns.com. This is David Kogan with Eliances.